let's get more now on that gay marriage referendum in Ireland. Joining me now from Dublin is Mark Govan, who travelled from Sydney in Australia to have his yes vote counted. A very good afternoon to you. How confident are you that your trip was worth it?
I am 100% positive that this was the best spent money I've ever spent to come back to be here on this historic day in Dublin. As you can see, the crowd behind me here is gathering in the square in Dublin Castle, and it's really going to be a momentous and historic day. I've no doubt that if I was in Sydney tonight watching this, I would be seriously feeling I was missing out. So I'm absolutely delighted I'm here to witness this.
And we don't get the formal result until later on this afternoon, I think between 4 and 6 o'clock. Early indications suggest it's going the yes way. If it does, how much do you think people like you have made a difference? There has been this Home to Vote campaign, hasn't there? Hashtag Home to Vote. Trying to persuade people like you, who perhaps are spending some time abroad, to come back to Ireland, because that's the only place you can cast your vote. What difference do you think that's made?
I think the whole Home to Vote campaign that's really been active for the last 24, 48 hours has really given the campaign a last-minute momentum. In the last 24 hours, all the stories about immigrants, expats coming back from as far away as Australia, Nepal, Uganda, they've all come back to Dublin. They're going to cast their vote, and it demonstrated to everyone in Ireland how passionate young people are about their country. And they all hope at some point in the future to come back and live in Ireland, and they care enough to come back and vote yes in this. And it really has given the campaign such momentum for the last 24 hours and got the turnout to come up. If there was a low turnout in this referendum, I think we could have struggled, possibly. It looks like today, I was in a count centre this morning, the turnout is going to be up around 60 to 65%, possibly as high as 70%, and that will really lead to a resounding yes. And I'm really happy, and I'm sure that the immigrants coming home and the stories in the media for the last 24 hours have really pushed that vote. It also emphasises the need for Irish immigrants to have access to postal voting. It's a real gap in our democracy. A lot of people, for economic reasons, for personal reasons, have left and travelled. There's about 700,000 Irish citizens living outside of Ireland, Irish-born citizens living outside of Ireland, and they really need to be given access to postal votes and online voting, so in future they can take part and participate in Irish democracy. We have a very democratic system, and we're the only country that needs to have referendums to pass these type of social issues, and it's really important. People who leave for a couple of years, even if you leave to go on holidays, you need to be able to have your say in either a postal or an online vote. So I hope the government take notice of how interested young people are in democracy in Ireland, in politics, and they really push for a postal vote to be introduced.
And yet there will be some people that will say people who don't live in the country shouldn't necessarily have a say in the future direction that country takes.
That is an argument that has been put out there, but I believe if you're born in Ireland, and as I said, it's 700,000 people born in Ireland that live abroad. It's not everyone in Ireland who has an Irish passport. It's 700,000 people. And a lot of them will come back and they will settle in Ireland at some point. And that's been demonstrated by all the people who have come back in the last 48 hours to Ireland to vote in this referendum. They're passionately, they're proud of Ireland, and they're really encouraged about the progress we're making. Ireland has transformed in the last 20 years. And the government should use this as a sign, that there's no harm in bringing in postal votes. The momentum is there for now, and this is the time the government needs to take it and force it through. There's a lot of support there for postal votes for immigrants.
And if the Yes campaign is successful, as clearly you hope it will be, how would you describe the kind of journey that Ireland's been on, given that homosexuality was only decriminalised in 1993?
Ireland has been absolutely transformed in the last 22 years. When I was born in 1983, it was illegal to be, homosexual acts were illegal, and that was the case until, I just said, 1993. And between 1993 and 2015, society has been transformed. Living in Sydney, people have a perception of Ireland as being a very Catholic and a conservative country, and this vote today is such a resounding yes to really blow that perception out of the water. And I think one aspect that has helped Ireland progress socially so quickly is the fact that we need to have referendums all the time. Referendums spark debate, engagement, and conversations, and they transform people's attitudes. And I think that's a real factor, and it's a real quality of Irish democracy that every citizen has a vote. If we didn't have a referendum for the likes of divorce, abortion, and the marriage referendum, we wouldn't. If Parliament is brought them in by an act, and Dáil Éireann an act of Parliament, there's no civic discussion, and society doesn't progress. And that's why this is so significant. the majority of Irish people today have voted for me to be treated equally, and I can now get married in the civil registry office.
And also, what do you think the role of the church has been in this campaign? A large majority of Irish people identify themselves as being Catholic according to the census. So what do you say that a vote that, if it does come out as the result as yes, says about the influence of the church?
I think the influence of the church has waned over the last 10 to 15 years. There's been scandals around child abuse and how they reacted to child abuse. But on the whole, I think Irish people are still, I would still refer to myself as a Christian and an a la carte Catholic. I wouldn't say I have no religion at all. But the influence of the church has definitely waned over the last 15 to 20 years. And I think it's not that people are less religious, the way Irish society is moving, is adjusted to the fact that no one religion is going to take precedence over any other religion. So Ireland is a society where you can be Catholic, you can be Muslim, you can be Jewish, and we can all live together. We can all be different in Ireland, and that's okay, and that's a really positive thing about Ireland. It's not that the Catholic Church is, the influence of the Catholic Church has diminished. They've accepted, and Irish people have accepted, that the dominant position of the Catholic Church in society isn't suitable for a modern liberal democracy that we have. So it's now the Catholic Church has accepted, and the Church, in fairness to them, they have sat on the fence predominantly on this. They haven't actively campaigned, they haven't put up posters. A few bishops have come out and asked people to consider their vote very carefully. And I think it's a very mature relationship we have now between Church and state and society. And I think this is reflected today here in Dublin. And, you know, the weather's out, the people are out. It's a great day for Ireland. The world's eyes are watching us. And I'm very proud to be here today to witness this.
Well, Mark Govan, we'll let you go and join the crowds and enjoy that sunshine as we wait for that formal result due between 4 and 6 this afternoon, as we understand it. Mark Govan, thanks for your time.
Yeah. Thanks, Anna. Bye-bye.
Now, the parents of